We'll talk about two different scales of packing, so medium and large. Or maybe we should be calling them large and extra large. I think it's safe to say we travel quite a lot, a bit more than average. According to my flight tracker, we spent 8 full days in the air last year across 35 different flights. And everywhere we go, we're working on commercial photo and video content for our clients or shooting videos for social media, and along the way, collecting plenty of travel photos. So after many years of refining my packing skills, we're gonna dig into my camera bag. Here's how I prep for a full production anywhere in the world. We'll start with a 25-liter bag. It's a little more tech-focused, and this is what I'd pack for a work trip. And then we'll dig into the 35-liter bag, which fits a full production studio. So starting with the actual bags, these are both made by Nomadic. This is the 25-liter Peter McKinnon edition. I've been using this for years. Like I've actually gone through one. This is my second because I wore the other one out. They're fantastic. I love the design. I just keep using and coming back to them. Like the material is mostly waterproof. They have flaps on both sides for accessories. And before we go inside, we'll start with the first accessory. This quick release is from Falcam. Kind of comes from the Peak Design template that I've been using for a long time, but I do like this release a little more. It's a little bit cleaner, a little bit smaller. And if I'm using any like mid-size full frame camera, this is so much more comfortable than camera straps that'll often like bring my backpack with me because it supports the weight so much better than having the strap dangling around. Also, before you start walking around, don't assume that the brand you have is compatible with the quick release Arca plate that is on your camera. I had one fall out because I didn't double check that the brands were compatible. So make sure that it locks before you start relying on it. On the side, we've got a zipper for a laptop compartment. I've done a number of videos breaking down how to choose which Mac is right for you. I recommend for anyone that can get away with using the MacBook Air to go with it. This is the 15-inch model. It is just so capable and small. My wife has been traveling with it lately. I wish I could get away with it. I need to have the bigger MacBook Pro we'll get to later, but I would recommend starting here. You can do almost anything with the MacBook Air. But when I'm traveling, I do always prefer to have the larger screen since it's the only screen with me. All the real estate becomes very useful and important. So I don't typically choose the smaller screens. Now let's get to the fun stuff. The way this backpack works is it has a few compartments that are actually removable like this. So when you're in a hotel room, you can take them apart, make room for something bigger inside if you need to. This actually pops out, so you could have like clothing up here if you need. Up here, I've got a second camera right now. I'll just tell you, this is much neater than when I'm actually traveling. It's like overloaded. This is an optimistic version of when I'm going to, let's say, cover an event, like when I'm at Apple Park for a new announcement. This is what I'll bring to both take photos and be able to make a YouTube video while I'm there. It's kind of got everything I need. And I'm just gonna put this aside and show you what's in there. For the last 2 years, Lumix has been my go-to for hybrid cameras. So this is something I need for shooting a YouTube video if I'm covering an event, right? Like this will get put on a tripod, which I'll show you in a minute, but the S1 II is just a really fantastic full-featured hybrid. I actually think Lumix is doing the best out of everyone right now in this category. I moved away from Canon to start using them. One thing I love is all the lenses are the same size, so you can easily switch between them, even on a gimbal. It has the good kind of flip-out screen. It has every codec. It has ARRI-log. Like it has everything inside of it. Open gate, I mean, things that Sony is missing are still in this at a lower price. So this kind of becomes my workhorse. It's gonna be in the other bag too, we'll talk about it more. But when I'm shooting videos, not so much photos on it, I only bring the 24mm lens. It is f1.8, which is fast enough to get a lot of separation. And on the front of it, I am using the Nisi True Color Variable ND filter. I just find that 24mm is the right balance, especially in like a hotel room. You don't know how much space you're gonna have. It needs to be on the wider side. I could shoot APS-C if I need to crop in. But anyway, this is the kit. This is the video kit. It is so fantastic. I love this camera, even though I haven't done a full review on it. Maybe I should. So if this is the workhorse, then I've also got the other camera, and this is kind of like my joy camera, the one that gets me inspired to shoot. These feel like work. This is the Leica Q3. This does not feel like work. This feels like fun. When we were in Venice on the last trip, this is what I'd shoot on when I'd get really excited about a photo. Like I saw something really nice, I'd pull this camera out and get an additional shot with it. And because it's more expensive, I prefer to put more frames on the Lumix and kind of reserve this for when I really care about the photos. So yeah, the Leica is my absolute favorite. Just carry around, comfortable lens. I know Leicas are expensive. You do not have to be using one of them. I'd recommend checking out Fuji for an alternative, or something like the Ricoh GR. Like there are many awesome carry around smaller cameras that don't have to be this expensive. It just happens to be that I saved up enough to finally pull the trigger, and I have no regrets. I love the Q3. But yeah, Fuji, also great. And you'll notice I don't use a lot of accessories with the Leica. There's no thumb grip. I don't even have a plate on it because I like this tiny little strap that actually just has really nice weight distribution. So this is from Clever Supply Co. All of the links will be in the description, by the way, so if you need to find any of this stuff, I really like this shorter one. It's like the Joe Greer edition, and like the nice thing is, since it's shorter, you have room to hang 2 cameras, so you can kind of stack them if you need. But also, as you're walking, this has a lot less room to flop around. It's not hitting your waist, it's not hitting anything. It's a lot more still as you move, so you can just quickly pull it up like that. And this is the version with the Peak Design quick release straps. I have these on all my cameras, or almost all. If you think back to the intro sequence of this video, I'm really curious to know, like, how much could you tell where the AI began and the real shots ended? Because that's how I like to use AI, is just kind of like as an augmentation of things that are already happening. It's kind of adding a little bit of magic to something that was already pretty magical. But don't worry, I'm going to show you exactly how I did all of that with a tutorial from today's sponsor, Higgsfield. And they've got all the latest models, a million different tools, but today we're gonna look at Cinema Studio 2.0. First, you're gonna do your standard edit of your clips in whatever video editing software you like to use. I'm using Final Cut Pro here. Then you just move the cursor to the very last frame of one of the clips. Of the first clip, export a JPEG of that. Then I move forward 1 frame and export this. Then we come back to Cinema Studio, and I've already set things up here. You can set the first frame and the last frame, and it's gonna transition between those two using whatever I say here. But this was the very first result I got, and this is why it was cool that I said Venice. It's actually filling in blanks. It actually got the geography of this pretty much right. Like, keep an eye on the right side of the frame here. It adds in this pillar that is there in real life, but it's not in any of the shots here. It just knows because AI is smart. Other things I like to do is turn the duration way down because I want most of what's happening to be real footage instead of AI. And another thing that's new to Cinema Studio is there are these different genres. I was using the action one, and I don't really know what it does, but it felt right. So then you just go through and start generating all of the clips you can imagine, all the different transitions you can think of. And then once the transitions are in there, you're gonna notice there is a small color difference that you need to color correct. Often it means bringing the AI clip just a little bit darker until you don't really notice a snap between the frames. Now there's 2 good ways to learn more about Creator Studio. Either you can watch my full tutorial where I show the full breakdown of selecting different cameras and lenses to generate full clips from scratch, or click the link in the description below to check out Higgsfield for yourself. Thanks again to Higgsfield for sponsoring this video. Of course, I bring different cases of memory cards around. They're labeled different colors, like these are the SDs. My favorite SD lately, by the way, in the Lumix right now, Lexar recently released their Armor series. These are super strong, all like unibody, so it's made of one piece, totally feels unbreakable. It's like water and sand resistant, extremely fast, extremely reliable, and having 1 terabyte means for a full trip, you just don't think about it. Like, you should download the photos. That's how they're backed up, is every day I'm downloading them and backing up to a drive. But inside the camera, I can just keep using the same card, add another CF Express card if I need to keep it redundant. And then I've got the regular Lexar 256. I gotta upgrade all of these to the Armor, it's amazing. I also bring the longer 40-inch version of the Clever Supply Strap. I actually love that these are not adjustable, so there's less junk on them to damage your gear in the bag or rub against you while you're carrying them. I've got these 2 small gear pouches. Both are made by Condor Blue. They are the iJustine version. One of them is for storage, so I'm always bringing around a drive that is for video specifically, and then another one that is for photo, and I sort my photos by year. Every year has a new drive. And then since I'm using a MacBook Air in this case, I gotta bring a card reader so that I can offload the photos easily. The other bag has a bunch of boring stuff like batteries for the cameras, but also fun things like the Stalman clamp. I bring both the vertical and also the horizontal versions with me absolutely everywhere I go because we shoot a lot on our phones. You never know when you're gonna need to put them on a tripod or rig them up to whatever you got. Power accessories might seem boring, but I spend a lot of time thinking about them because they make a huge difference on your quality of life. I just picked this one up from Anker. It is 100 watts, it has 3 ports, and I love it. There's even a display on it that shows you how much power is being output to each of the USB-C ports or the USB-A. I wish this one was also USB-C. I don't really need a USB-A, but this thing is great. I mean, it's super small. It can charge a laptop or multiple cameras all at once. Having something with multiple ports is very powerful. And then also just before this trip, I picked up a bunch of these new Anker cables. I'm so happy with them. I didn't know these ones were around before, but they're like very thin. They have solid data and power throughput. You want to make sure that you're using decent cables. Don't cheap out on them. Of course, power bank batteries. This one's from Anker as well. It's got a built-in USB-C. It's been going for a long time now. Gaffer's tape. Don't need to explain that. And then if you're traveling somewhere that has different power inputs than where you're from, make sure you get a decent power adapter. Like there's lots of cheap ones out there, but some of the cheap ones are kind of good. So again, there's links to all this below, like their affiliate links, but this one from Amazon has been much better than what I was using before. Like these super cheap ones don't really stay in the wall, but it's weird. They're a smaller size. Europeans, can you explain like why do you have smaller and larger of the same plug? I don't understand. Anyway, bring tons of these. You're going to need them. And my favorite microphone when we're on the go is the Rode VideoMic NTG. It has a built-in battery with a preamp that is very good. Excellent microphone. It's a shotgun mic, so usually I'll just try to mount it somewhere out of frame. I feel like having a good mic, even when I'm traveling, is part of the way that I try to separate my travel content from other people's because the audio quality isn't getting worse. And then this is the latest addition to my small kit. This is the Godox IT30 flash. It is the first small flash I've really loved. I bought so many small flashes. Most of them have been terrible. And this one is not. It is TTL. It's going to work with whichever camera you buy it for. Unfortunately, the Leica version isn't out yet, so this one is for the Lumix. But on here, I just set it manually and treat it like an old school flash, and I love the results. I use this a lot while we're traveling. So these are basically the essentials when we're on a trip, but there's one thing I left out. The iPhone, so that's actually what we're shooting most of our social media content on. Like, despite how much stuff I've got here, all the vertical videos are shot on iPhone. And I've done many tutorials on how to get cinematic footage out of your iPhone, so you can watch one of those at the end of this video. All right, well, it's time to move on. All right, it's time for the big bag. I need a bigger desk. This last trip was actually the first time I was brave enough to bring this because traveling overseas, I'm never sure about weight restrictions or being able to fit it, but it worked out fine. Now I'm using this side compartment over here for the tripod, and I'll fill in a few blanks that I actually didn't mention in the last bag. These are some things I need for YouTube that are sometimes in my rolling bag, like in my carry-on. The tripod I use and have been using for a long time is the Peak Design Travel Tripod. This trusty thing has got me through a lot. The head actually broke last year and they replaced it for free. I've been thinking about getting the Pro version because I just love this so much, but it's a little bit taller. Not totally sure yet. Maybe I'll upgrade at some point. The way that I'm usually mounting that Rode shotgun mic is with this little Small Rig magic arm. I use this clamp, also from Small Rig. I'll sometimes either attach it to the tripod or to the table that I'm sitting at and stick the mic on the end of it so that it can get closer to me. I mean, however you use it, there's always a good reason to have a magic arm in your bag. Also, always bring a short little tabletop tripod, just in case there's a million reasons you end up needing one of these. And then this was a brand new addition on this latest trip. Let me get this out of here. So this is the Godox ML100 bicolor, so it does tungsten and daylight, and it is 120 watts and it packs up very small. There are other competing brands that do this as well, but the reason I went for this Godox is that the lens is also very flat. So many of the others would look this flat at the start, but then if you want to carry the lens with you, like if you want to bring one, the lens would protrude quite a bit, like including the one from Aperture, which is very nice. It's full RGB, but I need this to be flat and I need to bring the lens with me. So all of this together is super small. It can be fully powered by USB-C. So I use that 100-watt adapter, run a 6-foot USB-C cable into it. And then for a light stand, I use this plastic thing from Ulanzi. Because it's plastic, it's very lightweight. It doesn't get that high typically, but it's nice because the stand also doubles as a portable tripod if you need it in a pinch. So this whole rig, this is how I set up my YouTube studio on the go. I think it works surprisingly well. All I'm doing, if you look at some of the recent examples, is I'm just bouncing this Godox light into a white wall or into a curtain or just something to soften the light. And that's how I make a hotel room look like a YouTube studio. So yeah, all of this is usually in my rolling carry-on. Now it's time for the big boy. This is the 35-liter Peter McKinnon bag, and it's actually the first time I brought it on a trip. A lot of the things are similar about the other, same construction, but quite a different physical design. I was surprised that even though it's a few pounds heavier than the 25-liter, I think it distributed the weight better because it goes longer down my back because it's a taller bag, so it felt pretty good on, but it left me wishing for a smaller travel bag that I could keep in my carry-on. So if you have any recommendations for something smaller than 20 liters that completely flat packs, I'm very interested. Before I go into the main compartment, let me show you what's hiding in here. A lot of the reason I wanted to bring it is so I could have this gimbal mounted in the front. This is where a lot of the additional space is. Typically, when I want stable traveling shots, I'd rely on the stabilization in the iPhone 17 Pro and just shoot in Apple Log, but I just wanted the bigger camera experience on this trip. And I think some of the clips were worth it. Again, I've got the FileCam clip. A lot of things are redundant here, so I won't duplicate too much of the talking. Here's what the inside looks like. And yes, it is messier than this when I travel. Interesting thing, there is room up here for the Nomadic Peter McKinnon sling bag, so you have additional storage space. Like once you get there, you can take this out, just use it as a traditional sling. I'm not a huge fan of slings in comparison. I find it so much more comfortable to have a backpack, but it's just nice to have an alternate bag with you sort of for free because it just serves as protection inside the backpack. So this is how I pack it. Let's pull things out. The laptop I use for all my work is the 16-inch MacBook Pro. I need the most I possibly can, whether I'm on the road or at home. I need a big screen real estate. I need lots of power. I don't have the privilege of going back and having a bigger desktop that I can do some of the work on. I just need all of my work with me all the time. On a big trip like this, I'll have a full frame camera, so the S1 II came with us again. But now with a bit of a different setup, I've got the 24mm, but now I'm also adding the 24 to 60mm. This is one of the newer zoom lenses from Lumix. It is 2.8, so very fast, very compact. I love this as a travel lens. Like there's just not enough options that are relatively small but still give you a ton of range. And then also an ultra wide option. This is the 16 to 35mm. It's only f4. That's one thing Lumix doesn't have, is a fast ultra wide zoom option, but you know, it's extremely sharp. This is part of their Lumix S Pro series, so it is a great lens. It's just not fast. So this kit is what I'm using to shoot my YouTube videos, also for ND filter here. Since these are a larger thread than the Prime, I need to bring another one, and this one is the Polar Pro Peter McKinnon Variable ND. I just want to say that I thoroughly regret getting the polarized edition. Let me try to show you why. Like the quality is there, Polar Pro is great, but now when I rotate with just one hand, it's only changing the polarizer, and I usually need to get two hands out to then also modify the ND filter. So that's the change I'm making more often, and I need to get an extra hand on the front of the lens. It kind of drives me crazy. So I do wish this was just a regular variable ND. But a lot of the reason for this larger photography kit is it's what I'm shooting Anya's photos on all the time as well. So that's thousands and thousands of photos everywhere we go. If you haven't already followed her on Instagram, I recommend it. There's lots of great photography there that we spend a lot of time working on. But of course, just like with the smaller bag, I also want to bring something that's going to bring me joy. And in this bag is the Hasselblad X2D2 with the 38mm 2.5 lens on it. With this setup, it becomes kind of similar to shooting with a Leica 30mm equivalent on a full frame camera, but this is medium format. So of course it means we're working with this giant, beautiful sensor, getting 100 megapixels in every photo. All of the scenery and candid photos I've been showing you are from the Leica Q3. That's what I traveled with on this. I didn't have the Hasselblad. This 38mm is brand new, so I'm very excited to take it on the next trip we're going on, so stay tuned if you want to see those images. There's a bunch of other things that are the same in both bags, so let's just get them out on the table. In the bigger bag, I'll bring a lot more USB chargers too. The Godox IT30 flash is back, and something cool is that it also works as a remote. So if I've got that, I can now trigger the Godox V100. So this has been a huge upgrade to my flash life. It also comes with this smaller sub flash on the front, so even if you're bouncing off the ceiling, you can get a little bit of fill here. It's 100 watts, super powerful. The best part about that is often you can turn it down to a lower power setting and still light up your environment, keep a fast refresh rate. Very nice touchscreen interface on the back. Like this was a very happy to pay for the upgrade situation here. I think this is by far the best portable flash I've ever used. And my only complaint is that it's very large, but it's totally worth it to have this wherever I am. And again, it can be controlled when you have both of these, they can talk to each other. Don't forget your gaffer's tape. Once I'm using larger cameras, I bring the slightly bigger version of the Clever Supply strap, which has just a little more shoulder padding. And then this, the fun stuff. First of all, let's appreciate this bag. This is made by Sissy Lou. Again, links to everything are down below, but all it is it makes it look like you very officially cannot X-ray this bag. There's nothing actually official about it, even though it comes with this slip with multiple languages explaining all the reasons not to expose film to an X-ray, but sometimes the people working in airport just don't understand. The camera I'm using is the Fujifilm Tiara, which is a beautiful design, excellent build quality, built-in flash. It's got all the basics of a point and shoot. The thing we kind of forget is that this is what a full frame used to look like. You didn't have to carry around something so large before. And often I just have, cheaper film stocks in here. Like right now it's got some Fuji 200 in there. I also shot a roll of Portrait 400 while we're on the trip. Still gotta send this in. Make sure anywhere you go, you have a blower for your sensor. I really like this smaller one. I've always usually had a big one, but this gets the job done and takes up a lot less space. And then if I'm gonna be recording video, I'm also gonna bring a set of wireless microphones. The DJI Mic Mini has been amazing. I really think they did a killer job on these. It's not that they're the best, but they are more than good enough in most situations. If you look closely, you'll notice I actually filed the logo off of mine so I could just have a nice clean front to it, but these really are fantastic. They also work with the iPhone, so it's a good, like, covers everything package that is always available. And then if I'm not traveling with a drone, I'm gonna bring the Insta360. This one is the X4. It does an amazing job. It's very capable. I just stick it on a selfie stick, put it up in the air, and there have definitely been times it's been able to get shots I couldn't have got any other way, so it's just nice to have in the backpack, and it's pretty small. Whichever multi-tool you use, just make sure that it's small and light and doesn't have anything that's gonna get you kicked off of an airplane. So, you know, it's not like I can travel with a knife. This is very airplane friendly, very compact, well-made, I love it. Can't leave without my all-time favorite tech accessory, AirPods Pro version 2. They are in a D-brand case. By the way, a great tip, I just figured this out for packing, is tell whatever AI agent you like, so for me, it's ChatGPT, all of the gear that you have. So for example, I was dictating and I was just like, Lumix S1 II, 16 to 35 lens, 24 to 60 millimeter. I just gave it a super long list, and then when I'm traveling, I'm like, okay, give me a packing list. I want to be shooting more video, less photo, whatever it is, and it kind of like figures it out and just gives you a checklist that's fresh for each trip. Super helpful. So there it is. Here's my maximalist kit that I travel with to do basically studio production work on the go. And I actually see people travel with a lot more than this, but like I never want to add check-on gear if I can avoid it. Like I will not travel with a Pelican case because that's put me over the weight limits in the past. I want it to be in a backpack that's close to me at all times and I can bring with me everywhere I go. So I hope this was helpful to someone else out there. Whenever you're packing for your next trip, let me know what I missed, because I'm sure there's something that I could be adding to this, especially like a small backpack. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.